Nigel, let me ask about another uh, issue where theology and ethics come together, particularly the question of warfare
Mm.
and the justified use of military intervention. 2013, you wrote a book, In Defense of War, published by Oxford University Press. I
True.
wonder if you can just tell us a little bit how that book came to be, what the impetus was for writing it, and what your hope for the book was.
The impetus actually goes way back to my undergraduate encounter with Augustine 40 years ago, or at least 40 years up till 2013, because it's always seemed to me that the exercise of government does involve us in the making of compromises, sometimes tragic. And I do feel that some of my, partly because academics are usually quite institutionally and temperamentally distant from government, and often Christian theologians as academics are equally remote from government. Um, we are not as aware of or as sympathetic toward those who have to deal with these situations requiring tragic compromise. So Augustine in City of God reflects on the common use of torture during the Roman judicial process. He laments it. He's aware that of the moral ambiguities of it, and yet he can't see any way to avoid it. And at one point he says, well, shall we then not sit on the judge's bench? He says, we have to, we have to. And even if I don't agree with him on torture, that's certainly true of the use of force. And I've always admired Augustine as a theologian for acknowledging the tragic necessity and not flinching. So when it comes to my book on war, I suppose I wanted to make the point that whereas engaging in war invariably involves the causing of physical evils, may involve, certainly will involve temptation to moral wrongdoing, and often is tragic. That's all true. I also wanted to make the point, however, that on the other side, peace is complex too. That the peace we have enjoyed, for example, in not intervening in Rwanda in 1994, we didn't intervene then. We kept ourselves safe, rightly or wrongly. That didn't, of course, mean that the Tutsis were kept safe from the Hutu. So in other words, what's peace for us doesn't necessarily mean peace for them. And so peace itself throws up some awkward questions, and it is not a simple good.